Ie ko rua taupare te whare nei, ko tēnei whare i hangaia e te kōti. Ki tāna kōrero, ti tiro ake hoki au ki ngā kai o te whare nei. Kōhatu, he mirimiri, he tātara moa, engari he one matua.
The Māori Investments was first formed in 1968 following some quite unfair negotiations where Māori landowners of some 44 old blocks in the Tarawera forests were asked to exchange their land holdings for shares in a company called Tarawera Forests Limited, and that was a tripartite forestry scheme between the Crown, the Māori landowners and Tasman Pulp and Paper. It was to secure the future of Tasman's mill in Kawerau. Yeah, our Māori landowners back in the day were ripped off.
40 years after the establishment of Māori Investments Limited, the board was in a position to purchase back its land, and it did that through the reacquisition of Tarawera forests.
The purchases of our orchards back in 2017 was the result of a strategic decision made by the board to become more of an active asset manager as opposed to a passive forestry landowner. The driving kaupapa behind those purchases was not only to provide an economic return to our shareholders and to diversify our asset base further, but more importantly was to create employment opportunities for our shareholders and descendants and for the local community.
Mai nei te kaupapa. Hai hai painga. Hai ora ngā. Ora tau mahi, ino toi wā tātou. Mahi huara kau. Ia ki kia kōtau, te rōpua tahu whenua.
We've got quite a diverse asset base. So when we do have challenges from things like the weather over the last year or two, that we've got other parts of our asset base that can carry us through. We've got a big carbon credit basis, so happy that the Minister's here today because we don't want to see too much changes in that regime because that's an important taonga for us.
MIL sort of acquired the orchard on Galatea Road back in sort of 2017, and the opportunity to acquire a neighbouring orchard come up. And the board looked at that and sort of proceeded ahead to acquire that orchard, and that was a conventional gold kiwifruit orchard. And then in 2021, the Whiritoa orchard actually was the best OGR producing orchard in the Whakatane area. And in terms of the country, we ranked sort of 10th in terms of orchard gate return.
We're very mindful here about our carbon footprint. As you see, our load-out pad, that's as far as we drive, or kaimahi push bike down to where we have to work for the day. It's not measured, but we know we're lessening our footprint. We follow a lot of tohu that our ancestors used. We have a tree that indicates when there's going to be the last frost. We use the cabbage tree too, tikoka. If it's flowering abundantly early, then we know we're going to have a hot, long summer. A lot of what we do here is observation. Generically, we'll plant to the right moon, but being in this whenua, we've got to learn our own maramataka here.
So when we talk about whenua, it's what's underneath there too. You need a lot of life in there. There's like 9 billion microbes on one seed that nurture that seed to grow. But for it to sustain that life, we must help it.
I did a soil test this year prior to harvest, a Sylvina test. We have the potential availability of 1,053 kilos of N and 2,500 kilos of P. And we are storing up to 65 tonnes of carbon per hectare per annum. So the soil is getting healthier and healthier.
And it's all about well-being, yes, because if this stuff below us isn't well, then we're not well. So well-being is everything. So we like to surround ourselves with people like Farm Strong to get advice from them on burnout, that sort of thing, of looking after your people. What we try and do is instill some skills, just basic necessities of life. It's about identifying leaders within your group It's about surrounding yourselves with the right people.
The highlights for us at Whiritoa Orchards was the capability build that's going into their people. They obviously know that that's the starting point for them. We also felt their production capability in standard gold kiwi fruit was exceptional, and at the same time they're excelling in the area of organics, and it's great to see the two things running in tandem.